Leute, willkommen zu der Folge von Genshin Impact. Letzte Folge haben wir die absolut geile visuelle Quest von Jeemak abgeschlossen. Checkt die aus, die war richtig geil. Und heute stützen wir in Kavehs Hangout rein. Ich bin mal sehr gespannt, was uns da erwartet. Wer interessiert ist an 3.7 ein bisschen selbst, soll für die erste Folge von Jeemaks Quest raus halt sich antun, denn die befasst sich die ersten 3 Minuten ein bisschen mit der neuen Version, was so kleines da neu dazugekommen ist und so. Auch nicht wirklich viel, also wirklich nur minimale Sachen. Aber ja, jetzt zum Einladung, Ereignis Kaveh, da ist einfach mein Dings am Laufen. Weg damit! Ui! So, wo waren wir? Also, ich glaube, das müsst ihr normalerweise nicht gesehen haben. So, also Einladungsereignis Kaveh, Panel zwischen Pech und Glück. Okay, wir haben ja für die, wo das Hangout, nicht Hangout Event, das Temporary Event gespielt haben, von 3.6, wissen, dass Dings, Kaveh anscheinend nicht so viel Glück gehabt und alles so. Deswegen nehme ich mal an, deswegen auch der Titel und alles so. Und der 6. Entwurf, Lauf durch die Stadt zu Mero. Okidoki. Das heißt, hier werden wir auf ihn treffen dann. Ich muss für mich selbst einen Ton irgendwie etwas leiser stellen, das ist ein bisschen laut. Also ihr müsstet normalerweise nichts befürchten. Vielleicht bleibt der Ton gleich. Und da haben wir auch schon den Verdächtigen. So.
I've taken a look at your proposal. It's much better than the ones you showed me before, but I'd still like to make some changes.
Okay.
Oh, come on, not again. Isn't this the 6th proposal I've shown you? What's your issue this time?
Oh boy.
It's a bit hard to put into words, but the design still doesn't look quite right to me.
Okay.
I have to say, that's a terribly vague and unconvincing explanation. Please enlighten me. What would feel more right to you?
For starters, don't you think this roof is jutting out a bit too far from the top? It looks almost like the head of a fungus. This door, too. I don't think it needs to be nearly this large. If you could reduce it to around my height, you could use the leftover materials to construct a few more rooms.
The roof and the door are the most fundamental parts of a building. If we were to change them, then what would be left of the design? Even if the soul of the building won't be lost, all traces of architectural style would be gone. Anyone with the slightest inkling of architectural knowledge would know to leave them alone.
Ich glaube, da ist jemand
I
ein bisschen
understand
gereizt.
the principles of what you are saying, of course, but the truth remains that I'm still a bit unhappy with the design as is. Is there anything else that you can do? Oh, actually, I just got an idea. Can we get rid of all the extraneous sections on the roof, so the whole design will just be one vertical structure, similar to that of a tree trunk?
What?
Don't architects often say that symmetry makes everything more balanced and pleasing to the eye? This way, the proportions will be completely balanced.
I really don't know how you managed to come up with such a ridiculous idea. Wait, don't tell me. Someone hired you specifically to commission me and put me through the ringer? Anyway, that's
Oops,
it.
sorry.
I will not be working on this commission anymore. Goodbye. Maybe you can find yourself some other genius who'll be able to satisfy your demands.
Hey, young man, please wait. Oh.
Okay, 3 Herzen, direkt alles weg. Da ist jemand, glaube ich, ganz schlecht gelaunt. Keiner sieht schlecht gelaunt aus. Ich folge ihm besser. Okay, das heißt, hier hat wieder die Herzensfunktion auch wieder eine spezielle Funktion. Das ich sehr feiere, denn ich habe es schon extrem gefeiert mit Ledas Hangout. Das war richtig geil, wie man nach einer erhöhten Stress-Level dann eben Ledas andere Seite zu sehen bekommen hat. Und jetzt haben wir hier, wie scheint, die Herzen, die Laune von Kaveh repräsentieren. Sehr cool gemacht.
This commission was truly the worst decision ever.
Geht es dir gut?
Oh, hey. I wasn't expecting to run into you here. Actually, while we're on that, what are you doing here at the tavern? Don't listen to anyone who says that drinking is an elegant pastime. It's no good for your health.
Ich habe dich gerade eben mit jemandem streiten sehen.
So you saw all that, did you? Ugh, I thought I was in the clear. I made sure to double check that nobody I knew was around.
Ich bin ein Spion.
Anyway, thanks for looking out for me. Honestly, it wasn't that big of a deal. I'm used to it by now. Stress is just an inescapable part of being a working adult. Boss, I'll have a glass of wine. Same as last time. Do you want something too? I'll put it on my tab.
Ich hätte gerne einen Becher Saft.
Wine in a glass of juice, coming right up.
Kaveh kippt sein Glas Wein in einem Zug hinunter.
I know you're already keeping a secret from me, but if you could add this one to the list as well, I'd really appreciate it. Arguing with a client is not a good look for me. If word gets out, other potential clients might be afraid to work with me. That guy, though, what was he even going on about? All those ridiculous demands of his? He's just a blabbering fool trying to act like a know-it-all.
Kaveh scheint nach einem Glas Wein geradliniger zu sein.
Another glass, please, boss. I'm not leaving today till someone has to carry me out.
Oh, Jesus.
You've got it, sir. I gotta say, though, it almost feels like you're saying that every other day now.
It really is every other day that you'd run into a client who knows nothing about construction requirements or architectural style. If this was in the past, I'd never have gone through 6 whole drafts trying to accommodate the client's preferences. But perhaps getting used to this just means that I've grown numb to it. I've worked on so many projects since graduation, and none of them have been approved at the first pass. I would spend a lot of time altering my designs, and by the time the clients were finally satisfied, all my passion and enthusiasm would be gone. It feels like I'm straying further and further from my artistic vision with every change I have to make. I suppose, though, that just sticking to your guns and completely disregarding other people's feedback would also not be a good thing. All of this makes for a real paradox, one that particularly crops up in my work, too. In the end, what is the true meaning of art? Should I see it as a divine gift of inspiration from the gods? Or an expression of the light of my own wisdom?
Here's your drink. How are you already spouting nonsense after just one glass? Your tolerance is usually much better than that.
Kaveh, der Alkoholiker.
Boss, what do you think is the meaning of art?
The meaning of art? Really, my friend, who in Sumeru understands art better than you?
Vielleicht der eine Typ
Anyway, I don't
vom
know
Theater
about
da.
art, but I do know that I'm interested in business, and some patrons are waiting to be served. So, you'll have to excuse me for now. Just holler if you need anything.
What do you think, Traveler?
Ich weiß es auch nicht. Etwas, das die Anstrengung und Hingabe des Künstlers darstellt.
Exactly. So our thoughts on the meaning of art are rather similar. In Sumeru, and especially Sumeru of the past, the arts are not a popular discussion topic. Trying to talk about the arts is basically the key to killing any conversation. It's too bad that I'm not in my best form today. Otherwise, we could have talked about this for a little longer.
Kaveh sieht noch immer sehr genickt aus und auch der Wein hat seine Stimmung nicht gehoben. Vielleicht sollte ich auf Nummer sicher gehen und ihm einen einfachen Vorschlag bereiten. Lass uns gemeinsam deinen Auftragträger überzeugen, lass uns etwas anderes mal in den Kopf frei bekommen. Ich würde sagen, wir probieren uns einfach mal an den Auftraggeber.
Thanks for offering, but you've seen how he is.
Und das sieht mir nach einer
He's
Spaltung
not
auch
going
aus.
to listen to anything I say. He understands nothing about my design, and all the suggestions he made were as if he just wanted to mock me.
Ich glaube nicht, dass er dir absichtlich Schwierigkeiten bereiten wollte.
Okay, it is possible that I was just jaded by my frustration. Well, given I'm already on my 6th draft, I can probably push myself to make a 7th. Let's go have another talk with him. I know where we'd be able to find the guy.
Okay.
There's no time to waste. The wine can wait until another time. I'll go take care of the bill.
Okay. Okay. Das heißt, wir beschäftigen uns jetzt mit dem 7. Entwurf für den Typen da. Für die Kommission da. Aber dann, das wird ja etwas. Ich habe auch gesehen, aktuell, von was ich gesehen habe, es scheint so der Auftrag so 2 Stunden und halb in Anspruch zu nehmen. Und Ui, und oh, scheint der anscheinend zu sein, der Auftraggeber. Als eine Zuflucht in der Wüste, okay. Das heißt, es ist wahrscheinlich für die Wüste, dieses Haus nehme ich mal an, oder was auch immer da konstruiert wird. Und ja, das wird wahrscheinlich eine Zeitchen dauern, dann hier alles aufzunehmen. Ich würde mal annehmen, wir bekommen wahrscheinlich auf 5 bis 7 Folgen und irgendwas so. Aber ja. Ja, hallo.
Kaveh, what are you doing here?
I've changed my mind. I was overreacting earlier. Can we try discussing the project some more?
My apologies as well. Now that I think about it, some of my requests were indeed a bit unreasonable. If I choose you to create the design for my project, I should have a bit more faith in your vision.
Thank you for understanding. Mutual trust is the basis for good communication. Now that we've got that out of the way, I think we can have a more productive conversation. To be perfectly honest, your commission request has been the most peculiar one I've ever received. Even now, I still know nothing about the building's intended purpose. All I know is that you want to build something in the desert for public use. I am aware that overly specific requests will restrain the architect's artistic freedom. However, knowing nothing about the intended purpose of the building also means I have no idea if I'm on the right track.
Ja,
I've
verstehe.
produced several draft proposals for you to choose from, and you've rejected every single one. If we don't get on the same page, it could be a decade before we can finally break ground on this project.
Yes, I've given this some thought already. I think we can go with the general direction of the latest proposal that you just showed me.
Das ist schon ein guter Step. Oder Schritt.
Just what?
Putting the building design aside, can we get some less expensive materials for the floor tiles? Yeah, I know someone in the business, and the red bricks he sells can go for pretty cheap.
Okay.
The timber here as well. We should be able to find some substitutes.
Please give me a moment. My head's starting to hurt again. Just please hold on for a second. So, let me get this straight. You want to reduce the cost of the project, right? But if we implement your suggestions, then I'm afraid we have to scrap the entire design. Architectural design cannot be neatly split into discrete parts. Any change to one part of the design will affect the quality of the whole thing. I decided to utilize high-end timber for this section because the weight-bearing structure requires the supporting materials to be durable and strong. Same with the tiles. Switch them out and the entire mural will have to be redesigned. More importantly, if we make such a change, both its practical functionality and aesthetic value will take a great hit. If all you need is a building with a roof that can keep people dry in the rain, you shouldn't have commissioned me. Many architects would be able to build you one of those while charging far less in commission fees.
Actually, Please tell me, are you absolutely sure that there's no room for any changes in this draft of the design?
Wahrscheinlich schon, aber ich
I
finde das
think
besser.
the most important thing for me is to understand what you would actually like to get. If you could tell me more about your vision, I might be able to work with the design some more. You are the client, after all. You should have the final say on how the project turns out.
I want to build something unique. Something quiet and warm inside. A refuge that can block out the world outside.
Okay.
I want all who enter this building to be able to temporarily forget everything that's going on outside of the building and just focus on their task at hand.
That's a bit more information than last time, but it's still extremely vague. To put it another way, every rich person who wants to build a mansion for themselves would request something like this. We've gone through many proposals, and this draft is already the cheapest one. Cutting costs by substituting building materials will not only detract from the overall effect of the building, it also won't save you much more in the grand scheme of things.
Thank you for giving it so much thought. Please give me some more time to mull over the budget. I'll get back to you once I've figured out a solution.
Okay.
I still have a few business meetings that I must attend, so I'm afraid I'll have to leave for now. You can just leave the proposal as is. I'll get in touch once I've given it some more thought.
Vielleicht verbirgt er etwas von uns.
I
uns.
also have a similar feeling.
Sollten wir ihm folgen?
Is that really okay? I mean, what he does now is none of our business. He does seem really suspicious, though. He dresses like a rich person, but when you talk to him, he hardly sounds the part.
Und er klingt nach einem sehr sparsamen Mann. Ja, das
That's
klingt auch
actually
so.
pretty common. Not all rich people are spendthrifts. Many are just, as if not more, stingy than him. The more mora some people have, the more they love interfering with people's lives. Like constantly reminding you to pay back your debts, or hinting every other day that it's time for you to pay rent. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm not even sure this person really wants to work on this project with me. Putting his vague requests aside, he's still finding excuses to procrastinate even when we've decided on a plan. Who knows how long construction will take if he keeps delaying things like this? We should find him again and get some clearer answers. The sooner we can break ground on this, the better.
Okay. Folge dem Auftraggeber machen wir. Was wird sich wirklich noch gut das Stück hinauszögern?
Where did he go? I could have sworn he went this way.
Also entweder er ist schneller unterwegs, wie wir denken, oder der ist irgendwie da verschwunden. Du hast ja ein Biom mit Kaveh abgesucht, doch ihr habt keine Spur von Badawi gefunden. Das ist der Suspekt.
Oh, hey, look! Isn't that Badawi?
Er ist ein anderer.
Looks like him, but he's dressed completely different now. What is he up to?
Didn't I tell you before?
What is
I'm
this,
not
Kaveh?
looking for more workers. Plus, aren't you a bit old for physical labor? If something happens to you, I won't be able to pay for it.
Oh, you won't have to worry
Ah,
about
Spadawi.
that. I grew up as an eremite mercenary and worked in the desert my entire life. My body's still in great shape. I don't have many talents, but I still have my muscle. If you need someone to unload goods or drive away sumpter beasts, I'm your man.
You used to be an eremite mercenary?
I know there are a lot of bad apples in our ranks, but most are just trying to make a living. We're not that greedy by nature, and we'll do our best when given a job.
Ich habe irgendwie das Gefühl, dass er nicht wirklich da war.
Let me think.
Aber irgendwie auch schon.
I'm sorry, but I still can't take you in. I don't have any open positions right now, and don't have the mora for anything more. How about this? Why don't you try your luck somewhere else?
Okay.
He used to be a member of the Eremites? Huh. From the way he was dressed, I would have thought he was a merchant from the rainforest. Let's ask him about it.
Na komm, wir machen das. Okay. Vielleicht auch von einer Person, die extrem viele Berufe durchgezogen hat. Wer weiß. Wir reden mal mit ihnen und finden
We
ein bisschen
meet
mehr.
again.
Huh? Why are you guys here?
That's what we wanted to ask you. Who are you? Why did you dress up like a merchant to talk to me about our project? There's no need for us to continue this project if you still want to keep hiding things from us. I don't work with individuals I can't trust.
Believe me, I didn't have any bad intentions. It's just... All right, there's no point hiding anything anymore. The building I'm trying to commission you for is not really a personal residence for me, but rather a library for children
Hab ich mir
living in
gedacht.
the desert.
Also nicht wirklich jetzt für Kinder, aber ich habe ja schon gedacht, dass es eine Bibliothek
Library?
soll sein.
Funded entirely by yourself. Shouldn't this be the responsibility of the academia? I've heard that the academia will be looking to prioritize the desert with the allocation of educational resources and materials. It sent over a large shipment of regular goods just last month.
You're right, and I was aware of these happenings as well. I just figured what I want to do is a separate effort from what's already being done by the academia.
Mhm.
The desert is too vast. Even if the academia spends a lot of effort trying to disseminate knowledge in those parts, it might still take decades, if not centuries, to reduce the educational gap that already exists between the two regions.
Das ist wahrscheinlich
what's
massiv.
more, I don't know if the academia would ever reverse its stance in the future. All I know is that as a desert dweller, we should not wait passively for good things to happen to us. If we only did that, we'd never be able to stand up and hold our heads high. I don't have much longer left on this world, so I just want to use whatever time I have to contribute something to my homeland.
Warum hast du uns von Anfang an nicht rein Wein eingeschenkt?
I didn't want you to know that I came from the desert. I've lived in the desert my entire life, and there wasn't anyone here that I could trust. I figured I needed as much safety as I could get.
To the point that you even disguised your identity? That's certainly taking playing it safe to the next level. Hold on. Don't tell me you've also been scammed before.
Scheint aber so.
When I first came to Sumeru City, I brought a lot of Mora, hoping to find an architect that I could work with. Someone agreed to take on the project, and even took a sum of Mora from me, but then disappeared without a trace.
Oh, scheiße.
After that, I heard that there are a lot of untrustworthy people in this business. Some would run as soon as they've been paid, while others would deliberately use expensive materials and take a cut of the construction funding. I spent a while collecting information in the city, and eventually learned that you're the most famous architect in all of Sumeru. I figured that you wouldn't need to make Mora by scamming people, so I decided to reach out to you.
Okay.
By the way, how did you know I was scammed? I don't think I've ever mentioned that to anybody.
Just a hunch. A while ago, I accepted an offer to work on a project in the desert, and was also scammed out of a large sum of Mora.
Oh.
I ran into someone who was living in a pretty run-down house. I noticed a load-bearing wall on the verge of collapse, and suggested that I build a new house for him. He said that he had no way to pay for it, so I loaned him some of my own Mora, and told him to get some stone and timber from the local vendors. Soon after that, I found out that he had gone gambling with all the money, and lost everything, down to the last coin.
Oh, Jesus.
After that, he even borrowed Mora from me twice more, using a different excuse each time. I didn't even suspect him of any wrongdoing until he hired a group of mercenaries and tried to ambush me in his own house.
Oh, Jesus.
According to him, I looked like an easy target because I was an academia scholar who didn't have any family or friends in the desert. What kind of person would just look at someone else and think, this guy looks like an easy target?
Those kinds of things do happen every once in a while, yes. Folks like him are the exact reason why us desert dwellers' reputation have gone down the drain. I must apologize to you on their behalf.
It's all right. You were also scammed by someone from Kasharwar after all. I should apologize to you on their behalf.
Yeah.
Ultimately, neither of our experiences had anything to do with the desert or the rainforest. People who are new to an area are always easy targets for criminals.
Schlechte Menschen gibt's überall.
Yeah, you'll find both good and bad people everywhere. I can't understand the logic of those who like to take advantage of others, but I have to accept their existence as a fact of life. Anyway, I digress. Let's return to the topic at hand. Did you keep rejecting my designs because you thought I was deliberately using expensive materials to take a cut as a middleman?
That's what I was afraid of initially, yes. I eventually understood that you weren't out to cheat me. But unfortunately, I still don't have nearly enough Mora to pay for the design you proposed.
Ja, das ist schon
I've done
extrem
the
teuer.
math and know that we should be able to make it if we cut some corners. However, after our conversations, I can see that you're passionate about your design, and I'm quite fond of the proposal as well.
Okay.
So, I decided to try and see if I can afford your proposal as is. I've been looking for work every day, and in another month, I should be able to cobble together enough Mora to meet the budget.
Okay.
By cobble together, you mean you're going to spend your entire life savings on this project? But then, what will you do if something unexpected comes up, and you find yourself stuck with no emergency fund?
To be honest, I haven't really thought about that. I mean, when you've lived to be my age and something happens, you can't really call it unexpected anymore.
Okay.
All I want is to build this library before I leave this world, so that the children of the future would have some books to read, and the desert dwellers would be able to learn their letters and pick up some practical knowledge.
Ich spüre, dass es dir mit diesem Projekt sein ist. Das
A
merkt
while
man.
ago,
Er will es wirklich
I heard
umsetzen.
that the academia had decided to recruit a number of exceptional children from the desert. Of course, this is welcomed news. But as someone who spent their entire life in the desert, I still have a few concerns. I know the desert life and can predict what the problems will be. Many children from the desert have had neither the interest nor the proper environment to learn.
Ja, das kann ich mir
So even
vorstellen.
if the academia would
Also
take
nicht
them
wirklich
in,
vorstellen, aber
once they enter
kann ich
the
bedenken.
halls, they might find themselves surrounded by other children who look and act very differently from them. And as a result, they might become socially isolated.
Ja, das ist auch natürlich zu immens.
Yes, I can imagine that. My father passed away at an early age. Even though I had a good number of friends during my years at the academia, for some time I still sensed many critical looks in my direction. I'm sure a child coming all the way from the desert will have an even harder time. But let's bring this back to the building itself. I think you said that you want this building to be quiet and warm, with its doors serving as a solid barrier to block out the sound and fury outside, and allow one to focus on the book in their hands. Building it according to the current plan will be quite costly. Even if I don't charge you any commission fees, I don't think we'd be able to keep it under your budget. Any ideas on what we can do?
Banküberfall, wie wär's mit einem anderen Baustil? Vielleicht könnten wir andere Händler um eine Spende bitten. Anderen
Slightly
Baustil.
different style. Give me a minute.
Okay.
Most architects would probably prioritize cutting costs and removing extra features in this situation. Indeed, converting the building into a simple bungalow would solve most of our problems. However, I do not think this would be the best solution. While it's true that the aesthetic value of a building is often viewed as an afterthought, neglecting it has some long-term negative consequences. It is especially undesirable in this situation, as the library will serve a high number of children, many of whom would have never been exposed to structures that may be considered elegant or beautiful. To completely give up on the more aesthetic design would mean stripping the children of an opportunity to appreciate the beauty of architecture. I share Badawie's sentiments in wanting to preserve a more complex design. However, if we can reduce the ornate aspects of the design while maintaining its fundamental elegance, which is to say we won't touch the arches and stone pillars, but make changes elsewhere. This is definitely a first. To make up for the loss of regular details, we would need to put a lot of extra effort into the layout, lines, and color.
Okay.
I see. Would that really be okay?
Das heißt, wir müssen ein
It just
bisschen mehr andere
increases the
Details
difficulty
hervorheben
of the
dann.
design. You should feel lucky that out of all the architects in the city, you chose to approach me. Most of the others would have given up on this project by now. As for inspiration, I think I might have something in mind, but I'd need to visit the site to make sure. Where do you want this place to be built? Tell me the exact location.
Ja, ich glaube, das wird
Aru
helfen.
Village.
Ja, das hab ich schon gedacht.
Although it wasn't my childhood home, I think it'll be the best site for such a building.
Okay, then we can pay a visit to Aru Village.
Is there something I can do for you? I've already caused you a lot of trouble before, and now you're revising the design again because of me. Which draft are we even on now?
Das 7.
It's making me feel terribly guilty.
Draft, also der 7. Entwurf.
You said you used to be an Eremite mercenary, right? In that case, you could help us clear out some monsters that are blocking the way to Aru Village.
Cool.
We want to keep the roads clear, and reduce the loss of materials during transport to a minimum. If everything goes well, that'll help us save some Mora.
Cool.
All right, just leave it to me. If there's anything I'm good at, it's clearing out monsters.
Ja, dann ist sehr gut.
What are you waiting for then? Let's pack up and get ready to go.
Okay, ab nach Aru Village.